You know this pattern. Things start going well. Actually well. Not in the way you talk yourself into thinking things are fine, but genuinely, measurably well. The relationship feels close. The project is gaining momentum. The bank account has breathing room for the first time in a while. Something in your life has crossed from hoping into actually having. And then something happens. Maybe it is a fight that comes out of nowhere. Maybe you get sick, or you disappear, or you make a decision that you cannot fully explain that quietly unravels the thing that was building. Maybe you just stop. You stop showing up, stop pushing, stop doing the thing that was working, and a few weeks later, you are back to a version of before. And you are sitting with that familiar, exhausted question. Why do I keep doing this? Here is what most people tell you at this point. You are afraid of success. You have a scarcity mindset. You do not believe you are worthy. You are self-sabotaging. And those things might sound true. They might even feel true. But they are explanations that live in your thoughts, and this is not happening in your thoughts. It is happening somewhere much older and much deeper than that. And once you understand exactly where, the whole thing stops being a character flaw and starts being a system you can actually work with. Your nervous system built a map. It built it early. From your environment, your caregivers, the emotional texture of the household you grew up in, the things that were celebrated and the things that were punished, the moments that felt safe and the moments that did not. It was building that map before you could speak, before you had language for any of it, and it was building it with one primary purpose: not happiness, not success, not fulfillment, safety. The nervous system is a survival system first. Everything else is secondary to that. And so the map it built is a map of what is survivable. What level of love is familiar? What amount of success has been proven safe? What degree of peace your body has been given evidence to trust? Whatever the map says is the limit, that is the ceiling. And when your life starts to exceed it, the nervous system does not celebrate. It fires an alarm, not because you are broken, because it is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is enforcing the boundary of its known world. It is trying to pull you back to the territory it recognizes. The collapse is not sabotage. The collapse is protection. Your own system protecting you from the unfamiliar, which to a nervous system is functionally the same thing as danger. This is a concept in psychology and neuroscience called the window of tolerance. It describes the zone inside which your nervous system feels regulated. Inside that window, you can think clearly, connect with others, take in good things, stay present. But when something pushes you outside of it, whether that something is a threat or an unexpected gift, the system responds. And for a lot of us, a genuinely good thing, love that actually shows up, stability that actually holds, success that actually materializes, is as dysregulating as a crisis, because it is equally unfamiliar, equally outside the map. The problem is not that you are afraid of good things. The problem is that you have never had enough proof that good things are survivable. Once you understand that this is a nervous system response, something else becomes very clear. You cannot think your way out of it. Willpower does not work here because willpower is a cognitive tool, and this is not a cognitive problem. You can decide with full sincerity that you will not blow up this relationship. You can want the success with every conscious part of yourself. You can know, intellectually, that you are doing it again. And still, when the nervous system crosses its threshold, the behavior happens. Because the behavior is not a decision. It is a response. It is automatic. It is regulatory. This is also why the affirmations did not move it. Telling a nervous system that it is safe does not make it feel safe. Safety is not a thought. It is a physical experience. It is something the body has to learn through repeated, actual evidence, not something the mind can simply decide. The ceiling was built through experience. It moves through experience. There is no shortcut past that. But here's the thing about that. Once you understand the mechanism, you stop spending energy on tools that were never going to work for this specific thing, and you start doing the one thing that actually does. The ceiling moves through something called pendulation. It is a term from somatic psychology, and it describes something very simple. You move toward the edge of what is uncomfortable, and then you come back to what is safe. You go toward the unfamiliar, and then you return to the regulated. You touch the edge without crossing into overwhelm, and then you anchor, and you repeat. What this does physiologically is teach your nervous system that expansion is survivable. Each time you move toward the unfamiliar and return safely, the map updates slightly. The edge of the known world moves out 1 degree. The window gets a fraction wider. Over time, what once triggered the alarm becomes familiar territory. Not because you pushed through and white-knuckled your way past it, but because your system now has actual evidence. Evidence that this is survivable. Evidence built from experience, not from an affirmation. This is what expanding your capacity looks like in practice, and it is much smaller and much more ordinary than anyone makes it sound. It looks like letting a compliment land without immediately deflecting it. Sitting with it for 3 seconds longer than feels comfortable before you minimize it or explain it away. That is touching the edge. It looks like letting a good week be a good week without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Noticing when your mind starts scanning for the threat that must be coming and choosing, just once, to stay in the present moment instead. That is moving toward unfamiliar territory and returning safely. It looks like staying present inside a genuinely loving moment instead of finding the small thing to be frustrated about. The frustration is the system finding a way out. You do not have to take the exit every time. None of these are dramatic. None of them will feel like the big healing moment. They will feel small and almost anticlimactic. That is exactly right. Because capacity does not expand at the center of the comfort zone. It also does not expand in overwhelm. It expands at the edge, just slightly beyond familiar, just slightly outside what has been proven safe, and then return to safety, again and again and again. You are not trying to override your nervous system. You are trying to update it. That distinction matters enormously because one is a fight and one is a conversation. Trying to override it looks like pushing harder, performing more, white-knuckling through the alarm. The system gets louder. The collapse comes anyway, often harder. Updating it looks like slowing down enough to notice when the alarm fires, naming what is happening, not to yourself as a criticism, not again with the collapsing, but as information. My system just hit the edge. This is the point where it usually pulls me back, and then making one small choice to stay present a little longer than usual. Not forever. Not perfectly. A little longer. This is also why naming what you are feeling matters so much more than people realize. There is research from UCLA showing that when you put words to an emotional state, the activity in the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that fires the threat response, measurably decreases. Labeling the feeling does not just describe what is happening, it changes what is happening. The act of naming it interrupts the automatic response just long enough to give you a choice you did not have before. So when the relationship gets close and something in you wants to pick a fight, naming it, I am at my edge. This is the ceiling. This is the alarm, not a real threat, is itself the intervention. That is not a small thing. The ceiling you are living under was not a verdict. It was a starting point. It was built when you were small and had no other options. It was built from the information available then, in that environment, with that level of understanding. And it has been doing its job faithfully ever since, keeping you inside what it knows, pulling you back every time life asked you to expand. But you are not small anymore, and you have something now that you did not have then. You have the map. You can see the mechanism. You know that the collapse is not proof that good things are not for you. It is proof that your system has not yet accumulated enough evidence that good things are survivable. And evidence is something you can build, slowly, deliberately, in the smallest possible increments. Every time you let a good moment be good. Every time you stay when the alarm fires and the old exit presents itself. Every time you name what is happening instead of becoming it. The map updates, the ceiling lifts, not all at once, not dramatically, but it lifts. You were not built to collapse every time things get good. You were built to survive with the map you had. Now you are building a new one, and you already started.